Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Barnabas Bot. In today's video, I want to talk about the ultrasonic sensor. So if you go ahead and look on the top right corner, you're going to see my ultrasonic sensor here. It's got two eyes, looks like two Wally eyes, and it's got four pins coming out of the bottom of it. Again, this is available on the expansion pack on the Barnabas Bot. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. I'm going to change my camera here. Okay, so I want you to notice the four signals here, okay? It says VCC, let me get the glare out of there, VCC, trig, echo, and GND. So let's just get rid of the first, or talk about the first two signals to kind of like get the easy stuff out of the way. So VCC is the same as 5 volts, or the highest power on the noggin, and then GND is the same as GND, or ground, on the noggin. So these two signals here, VCC, GND, are going to give the sensor power. Okay, this is an active device, meaning it needs power in order for the sensor to work. So similar to when we connected to servo motors. So again, here are the servo motor wires here, and if you remember, it had 3 colors: orange, red, and brown. And red and brown, they were the VCC and GND connections, right? Now the orange, that was called the signal, that controlled the position or the degree on the servo motor. So going back, so it's very similar in that it has 2 power wires, but this sensor has also trig and echo. So the servo motor only had 1 control signal, but the sensor, or ultrasonic sensor, has 2, and they are called trig and echo. Now those two have to do with these 2 objects here, all right? So trig is trigger, which you can also see a T right here, so that's kind of easy to remember. T for trigger. So what's happening here is that this little round thing here, this is actually a little speaker. It sends out a sound. A very high frequency, meaning you can't, it's hard for us to hear, we won't be able to hear it, but it sends out a sound. And then over here where it says R, this is R for receive, okay? It's R is like a microphone, or it's a receiver, like it's waiting for the sound to come back, okay? So a sound goes out of T, and then R waits for the sound, or the echo, to come back. So those refer to these 2 pins here. T for trig, okay? And then R, or receive, for echo. So, you know, it may be more straightforward if they put E here instead of R. But it's not a perfect world, but we'll figure it out, okay? Echo and receive, yeah, they have to do with each other, right? And so the way that this works is just like bats, and just the way that bats and whales and dolphins see in the wild. They send out a little sound, and then they wait to see how long it takes for an echo to come back, and that helps them know how far away something is. So we're going to add that functionality to our robot using the ultrasonic sensor. And we're going to have to do some code for it to work as well. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and how to before we start wiring, and then before we start coding. And then also, there's also a lot of math behind how to calculate the distance based on the echo. So I'm not going to go over that in this video, because I've done that already in another video series. So I'm going to put a link for the math behind the ultrasonic sensor in the description. So if you're interested in that, you can also check that out. If you're, you know, a math geek like me and like to know kind of like behind the scenes how the numbers work out for the ultrasonic sensor to work. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and wire this ultrasonic sensor to our noggin. Now these 4 pins, they're not going to fit directly onto our noggin here. There's no special space for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put it onto our breadboard like this. So the first thing we want to do is just put it on the breadboard and make sure every pin is on its own row. So I'll put it this way. Okay. And I'm gonna have to change my camera angle probably in a second, but okay, so we have VCC, is the furthest, I guess, closest to my finger right now. VCC, trig, echo, and then GND. Okay, just stick it in. All right. So then we're gonna grab some wires, these pin-to-pin wires that you have in your expansion kit, and let's use red and black for the VCC and GND. Okay, so I'm gonna grab red. Now VCC, if you remember here, was the one that's closest to my finger right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in. Same row as that pin there. That's the VCC pin. Perfect. Okay. And then I'll make this connection later. I have it color coded, so I know that red is going to be VCC. Okay. Let's do the black wire. Will be GND. Should be right there. Okay. Black wire to GND. And then let's use two other colors for the trig and echo. I'm gonna go with yellow and green. Okay, let's go. Trig will be yellow, and let's see if I change my view here. Here we go. Okay, let's back this guy up here. Okay. So this will be yellow, will be trig, which is going to be, you know what? No one can see. Let's go back to this way. We're figuring it out here. All right. Yellow trig is this one here. All right, and then green is the last one. That's going to be echo. All right, so I have my wires in. Now I got to stick it into the back of my noggin here. So now I'll turn it like this. Turn my noggin around so we can all see. Okay, so this is VCC, the red wire. So let's stick it in to 5V. Let's see, where's the 5V? There should be one down here. Cool. Okay, stuck that into 5V there. This one, black wires to GND, right? So black wire to GND. Should be an open GND somewhere. Okay, there. All right. I know you might not be able to see so clearly, but you know, we're pretty familiar with these boards now, right? So I'll trust that as I call them out, you'll know where to put it. Okay, and then I went with trig is going to be yellow. So this one, now we've got to select two different pins here for our control pins, right? So let's go 3 and 4, okay? So trig will be 3. So go up here and find 3. And then echo will be 4. Okay, there we go. We are wired up. Let's see if we can get this thing to work, okay? All right, so let's go to my code here. Okay. So we have here the previous code that we did. Let's go ahead and set up our pin modes, right? So we used 3 and 4 for the control signals. So I'm going to say pin mode 3, comma output pin mode 4 comma input. I believe that's correct. Let's double check here. So trig should be pin 3. I always mess this up, so I just want to make sure here. I got 3 is the yellow wire, which is connected to trig. Okay. And then the other. Okay, so we're good. I just wanted to make sure because it's easy to mess it up. Okay, so pin 3 is the trigger. Just putting a comment here. And trigger is sending out, so sending out a sound, so it makes sense that it's an output. And then 4 is the receiving or listening, so it makes sure that it's an input. So 4 is echo. Okay, so I've set up my pin mode, so that's cool. Now what about getting our ultrasonic sensor code working? Well, as I mentioned, I'm not going to go over all the math and all the specific code that goes into the ultrasonic sensor calculation, but I do have it here. So I'm just gonna take this function that we learned about. So we learned about functions where it's a set of instructions. You can put stuff all inside of it, so you don't have to rewrite all this code right here, right? So I already did that for you. So it's gonna be super easy to use the ultrasonic sensor of functionality because I gave you the ultrasonic sensor function all for free. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and I'm just gonna paste it into here. Okay, you can really put it anywhere. So I put it up on top. Here we go. So again, this code right here, there's some math behind this and a little bit more explanation that I have in the video in the description. Okay. All right. So if I want to get ultrasonic sensor to work, I just need to call this function or use this function. Now this one has 2 parameters. It says int trig pin, int echo. So how it works, I just need to say ultrasonic, put my trigger pin, comma with my echo pin, and then what happens is it's going to give me back information on distance. So let's try. Okay, all right, so once I have my function in there, now I can go to my loop here. Okay, and let's do something. Let's do this. I'm going to print some information to the screen here so I can see what number or what distance my ultrasonic sensor is seeing. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put my hand like this in a little bit, and we're gonna like change the distance. Hopefully, it can sense my distance. All right. So the way we do that, we have to first under setup put one of these serial dot begin 9600. Okay, this just sets up what's called the serial communication on the noggin, so that it knows that, okay, if you put serial.begin, it knows that it needs to start sending messages to the computer. All right, it's just a setup thing we have to do. So make sure we have that under the setup. After that, then when you're in your main loop now, you can say serial.println. This is a distance test. Okay, so I'm just putting a sentence in there just to make sure my serial monitor thing works, or serial communication works. And I'm also going to put a little delay, 100 milliseconds, so that, you know, it doesn't keep talking, you know, over and over again and just keep sending messages too fast. It's going to get mixed up, can actually cause our computers to freak out too. Okay, so that's why I put that little delay 100 in there. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, I'm going to upload. Oh, I need to plug this in. why don't we do that? Getting my cable here. Okay. Cool. Let me zoom in here a little bit so we can see what's going on. Okay. And then, so now I'm connected, I can do this. Okay, it's been uploaded. So once that's done, you go here where it says monitor. And we can click on that. And then click there. Cool. So you see it's sending messages. This is a test. This is a test. This is a test. Okay, so that's just to see that I'm able to send information over serial communication. So that's cool. Let's see. Let me move this a little bit here. See up here on the right here, it says connected. I'm gonna just click on that to disconnect it. Okay. And then let's go back here and let's change this up here. So instead of this is a distance test, let's actually print out the ultrasonic distance there. So instead of this double quote and whatever sentence in here, by the way, if you wanted to say, you know, my name is Ed, you can type whatever you want inside these quotes. Okay, so you can play with that too. If you want to send messages to your computer screen using the robot, you know, you can do it just by changing this area, which is called a string in computer code. It's just called a sentence like this is called a string. Okay, so you can change a string to whatever you want. Okay, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to actually delete all that in there, and instead of printing a sentence or a string, we're going to print the ultrasonic distance. So let's go back up. We put in the function here, ultrasonic, right? So let's copy that. Let's put in ultrasonic, and then we also have to put in the two things, what is it, the echo pin and the trig pin, but which one first? It says trig pin first, then the echo. Okay, and I already forgot, so good thing we took some wrote some stuff down. Trig pin is 3, echo is 4. Okay, so I just go ultrasonic 3, 4. All right, make sure my parentheses are good. So I have this parenthesis goes with this, and then this parenthesis goes with this. So I am all good. All right, let's see what this does. Hopefully it works. Okay. Okay. Let's go to our monitor again. Okay. Something is happening. Look, when I put my hand in front of it, so when you first go like this, it's basically nothing's in front of it, and it's saying 300 something, 326 or whatever, right? But then if you put an object, I'm gonna put my phone like this. You see it says 6. I get closer. 4, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's actually sensing distance now, and it's using that ultrasonic code. So let me put my hand back there. Okay. So you see sometimes it gives some crazy kind of numbers. Could be if you have like sometimes with your hand, it might be looking like through your fingers or something. So that's why I like to use an object, like a solid object, you know, like, you know, some Post-its or something. Then you see that it's pretty solid when I do that. Okay, so when you're testing, you want to use a solid object. All right, so looks like it's working. One question I have for you is, you know, what do you think the units are, right? You know, when I put it like this, it says 3. Move it a little bit, it says 5. So if you actually look down, okay, let me turn it to this view here. If you look down, okay, it says 4 right now. What is this? Is this 4 inches? 4 centimeters, 4 miles. You know, what is that? What's the unit? So the actual unit is centimeters. And again, if you look at the code in the other video in the description, I explain how that all works and how you had it in centimeters. So just kind of like just popped into my head, if you want to do an extra exercise, you know, what if I said, take the code that I wrote for the ultrasonic and change it into inches, unit inches or unit meters, right? Like, what would you do? So you would be able to do that if you looked at that sample code explanation in the description, in the video, in the description. Okay, just a little something extra that you might want to play with. All right, so now that we know that's working, let's go back here. Let's do this. Let's use this now, right? So we know that whenever we say ultrasonic 3.4, it sends back the distance away in centimeters. So what if we want to trigger some movement using the ultrasonic sensor? Let's say we don't want to use the button anymore. So this triggers the button, this clause, here, digital 8 equals low says, if I press the button, then do this stuff in here, right? And I think that should be working. So let me press the button here. And that is working, so that's good. Okay. But now I want to do so that if I go up to it, it does it instead. So what do? I can just get rid of this. I can just put a comment here to get rid of it. I can say if ultrasonic 3.4 is less than, let's say, 3. All right, well, does that work? Make sure I have my parentheses all set up correctly here. Yeah, so I'm basically saying if I see something less than 3 centimeters, then do all this stuff. Else, turn it all off. Okay, let's see if this works. It'd be kind of cool. Okay. Putting my hand. Oh, it worked. See if it works again a second time. I'll use like this little object here. Interesting. So you wonder, you know, why is it not working now? Is it because it seemed like it only worked one time? Oh, there it goes. Let's see what's going on. Maybe, let's see. Here. Okay, seems like it's working okay. So whenever you kind of see like, you know, how come it doesn't work right away? Let's see. I go up to it. There's like a little bit of a delay. Let's see. Let me go to the monitor and kind of so we can see what it's seeing. Oh, you know what? I think the hand doesn't work very well. Let's see if this thing works. It's interesting. For some reason, this object right here, this is like a felt pen holder. it doesn't work at all. Really strange. I don't know why. There's something with the sound or something. Maybe this is kind of like some sound absorbent material, or I don't know. You learn something new. Okay, so there might be some things that don't work with the ultrasonic sensor, but I think the paper works, right? So let's see. Yeah. Okay. The other thing I'm seeing here. Oh, interesting. The other thing I'm seeing here. Okay. So number one, we learned that this thing kind of doesn't do anything at all. That's interesting. The other thing I'm seeing is that it doesn't sense values under 3 very well. Like 3, you might see 3 pop up, but it doesn't show up that well. So maybe I should increase it. Maybe I should say anything less than 5 centimeters. So that's something we're learning, right? As we're doing this and fixing stuff. These sensors are not perfect, right? So there's actually a certain like minimum distance it can sense. So I guess it can sense 3 centimeters, but it doesn't do that well. It doesn't do it that well. So let's do it. Maybe it can be more consistent if it senses something less than 5 centimeters away. Okay, maybe that will help. Okay, let's give it a shot again. Okay. Okay, that's good. Let's try again. Oh, much better. Okay, so I mean, so we actually just actively debug something. I didn't know that less than 3 wouldn't work well. Maybe your sensor would work well with less than 3, but mine doesn't. Yeah, less than 5 works great. Okay, cool. So the last thing I'm going to show you is what if we want it to work with the button and the sensor, right? What do we do? Well, we can just add to the if stuff, okay? So we can say, if ultrasonic's less than 5, do this stuff. We can also say this. I'm going to take this code here that we cut away, or that we commented out, and I'm going to put it down here. And we're going to say, after this first if block, we can say else if, parentheses, and I didn't do that right. This should go right here. Okay. Okay. So I kind of slow down a little bit and kind of go over what I just did. All right. So I'm saying this part we've seen. If ultrasonic less than 5, we know what happens. It does all this stuff. Okay. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to need that later. Else if, meaning if this is not true, then see if this is true. Okay. And if it's true, then do the stuff inside here, which is going to be the same stuff that we had up there. Okay. So what this is going to do is, first it's going to see, is something less than 5 centimeters away? If so, then do my little thing here. If that's not true, check to see if someone pushed the button. If so, do this stuff. And if none of that stuff happened, just turn everything off. Okay, so now I should be able to trigger all the stuff using the motion sensor, or sorry, not the motion sensor, the ultrasonic sensor, or the button. And that's the last thing we'll do here. Okay, let's first try the ultrasonic sensor. That works. And then maybe I'll turn around my robot here. Or turn my robot around, I guess. That's pretty good. So let's do the ultrasonic sensor. That works. And then let's also do the button press. I'm pressing it now. Also works. Cool. Ultrasonic. And then just for fun, button trigger. There we go. All right. So everything's working. We have the ultrasonic sensor. We also have the button working, and then we have sound and dancing of the arms and head. All right. So that's all we have. So things that you can try, right? I mentioned it in the previous video. If you want to change up the dance, like if you want to make it go super fast or something, or do something with the hands and then the head, if you wanted to, let's say, trigger music whenever you press the button, but trigger only motion when you press or when you trigger the ultrasonic sensor, you could also do that. You would just have to change what you put inside here, which is for the ultrasonic, versus what you put inside here, which is for the button. Okay, so there's an infinite amount of different things you can try. If you have questions like how would I do this, I'm curious about how to do that, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to send out a sample code for you to play with. So that's all I have for you now. Hopefully you've enjoyed this project. Enjoy, and I'm doing this video during the holidays, so happy holidays as well. All right, take care.